Beneath the gentle rise and fall of your breath, beneath the warmth of your skin, there is a world you cannot see, a world that is always with you, always alive. Tonight, as you settle into the quiet comfort of your bed, you are invited to journey inward to a place where trillions of tiny lives hum softly, shaping the story of your health. This is the world of your microbiome, a secret garden that flourishes in the shadows, quietly tending to the needs of your body. Imagine, for a moment, the surface of your skin as the border of a vast, invisible country. Just beyond this border, in the winding corridors of your gut, in the gentle folds of your intestines, a bustling city thrives. Here, bacteria, fungi, and viruses live side by side, each with their own purpose, their own rhythm. They are not invaders, but residents, old friends who have traveled with you since the very beginning. With each breath, you drift deeper into this hidden world. Picture the gentle curve of your intestines, a soft tunnel lined with life. The walls are alive with movement, with the quiet work of countless microbes. Some are busy breaking down the food you eat, turning it into energy and nourishment. Others are crafting vitamins, building blocks your body needs to grow and heal. Still others stand guard, protecting you from harm, their presence a silent shield against illness. This world is ancient, older than memory. Long before you were born, before your first breath, your body was already preparing to welcome these tiny guests. As a newborn, you received your first microbes from your mother, a gift passed on through touch, through milk, through the simple act of being held. Over time, your microbiome grew and changed, shaped by the foods you ate, the places you lived, the people you loved. Now, as you lie here, you can almost feel the gentle hum of this inner world. It is a symphony of life, a chorus of whispers that never truly sleeps. Each microbe plays its part, some singing loudly, others barely making a sound. Together, they create a balance, a harmony that keeps you well. Think of your microbiome as a garden, lush and wild. Some plants are tall and strong, others delicate and rare. The soil is rich, teeming with life. When the garden is healthy, everything grows in balance. Flowers bloom, fruits ripen, and the air is sweet with possibility. But if the garden is neglected, if weeds take over, or the soil grows thin, the balance is lost. The garden struggles, and so do you. Your microbiome is much the same. When it is in balance, you feel strong, resilient. Your digestion is smooth. Your mind is clear. Your body feels at ease. But when the balance shifts, when stress, illness, or antibiotics disturb the harmony, you may notice subtle changes. Perhaps your stomach feels unsettled, or your energy wanes. Perhaps you feel more anxious, more tired, less like yourself. Yet even in these moments, your microbiome is working quietly and tirelessly to restore the balance. The bacteria in your gut communicate with your immune system, sending signals that help you heal. They talk to your brain, shaping your mood and your thoughts in ways you may not even realize. They are your silent partners, your unseen allies. As you listen to the gentle rhythm of your breath, you can imagine these tiny beings at work. Picture a single bacterium, so small it would take 1,000,000 to cover the head of a pin. It moves with purpose, seeking out the nutrients it needs, dividing and growing, playing its part in the grand design. Around it, thousands of others do the same, each with their own role, their own story. Some bacteria are like gardeners, tending to the soil of your gut, making sure everything grows as it should. Others are like builders, constructing the walls that keep harmful invaders out. Still others are like messengers, carrying news from one part of your body to another. Together, they form a community, a living network that connects every part of you. This community is always changing, always adapting. The foods you eat, the air you breathe, the people you touch, all of these shape your microbiome, adding new members, encouraging old ones to grow. It is a dance, a constant exchange between you and the world around you. Sometimes the dance is smooth and graceful. Other times it stumbles. Illness, stress, or a course of antibiotics can disrupt the balance, causing some microbes to flourish, while others fade away. The garden becomes overgrown, the city crowded and chaotic. You may feel the effects in your body, in your mind, in the way you move through the world. But even in these moments, there is hope. Your microbiome is resilient, capable of healing and renewal. With time, with care, the balance can be restored. New microbes arrive, old ones return, and the harmony is rebuilt. As you rest, you can feel the gentle promise of this inner world. It is a reminder that you are never truly alone, that you carry within you a universe of life. Each cell, each microbe is a part of your story, a story of connection, of resilience, of quiet strength. Tonight, as you drift towards sleep, you may find comfort in the knowledge that your body is cared for by countless unseen hands. The whispers in your gut are not just noise, but music, a song of life that plays on, even as you dream. And as you listen to this quiet symphony, you may begin to wonder, what happens when the balance is lost? What stories unfold when the harmony breaks, and how can it be restored? The answers lie just beyond the edge of sleep, waiting to be discovered in the next chapter of your journey. There are nights when your body feels unfamiliar, as if a gentle discord has crept into the music of your being. The symphony that once played so smoothly inside you now stumbles, a note out of place, a rhythm that falters. You may not notice it at first, a small discomfort, a restless sleep, a sense that something is not quite right. But deep within, your microbiome is whispering, sending signals that the balance has shifted. Imagine your inner garden, once lush and vibrant, now touched by a quiet drought. The soil feels dry, the flowers droop, and the air is heavy with stillness. The gardeners, your helpful bacteria, struggle to keep up, their numbers thinned by forces beyond their control. Perhaps you have been ill, your body fighting a fever or a cold. Perhaps you have taken antibiotics, powerful medicines that sweep through your system, clearing away both friend and foe. Or perhaps stress has crept in, tightening its grip, changing the very chemistry of your gut. Each of these moments leaves a mark, a gentle disturbance in the world within. Antibiotics, while life-saving, are like a sudden storm washing away not only the harmful invaders, but also the gentle caretakers of your microbiome. Illness can tip the scales, allowing some microbes to grow wild while others fade into silence. Even stress, that invisible weight, can change the landscape, making it harder for your inner community to thrive. You may feel these changes in subtle ways. Your stomach might grumble more than usual, or you may notice a heaviness after meals. Perhaps your energy dips, or your mood feels clouded, as if a shadow has passed over your mind. These are the quiet signals of imbalance, the body's way of asking for help. But imbalance is not always a cause for fear. It is a part of life, a natural ebb and flow. Just as a garden weathers storms and droughts, your microbiome is built to adapt, to recover, to find its way back to harmony. The roots of imbalance run deep, but so does the potential for renewal. Think of your microbiome as a choir, each microbe a singer with its own unique voice. When all the voices blend together, the music is rich and full. But if some voices are lost, or others grow too loud, the song changes. It may become discordant, uneasy. Yet even in this discord, there is the possibility of a new melody, a chance for the choir to learn, to grow, to find a new balance. Sometimes, the roots of imbalance are hidden, growing quietly over time. A diet low in fiber, high in sugar, can slowly starve the helpful bacteria, giving rise to less friendly strains. Environmental toxins, lack of sleep, or even loneliness can shape the community within, changing the way your body feels and functions. The garden becomes tangled, the city crowded, the music strained. But even as the balance shifts, your body remembers the way back. The immune system listens closely, responding to the needs of your microbiome. Cells send out signals, calling for help, inviting new microbes to join the community. The gut lining repairs itself, creating space for healing to begin. It is a slow process, gentle and patient, like the first green shoots after a long winter. In these moments of imbalance, hope stirs quietly. You are not powerless. You are not alone. The world within you is resilient, capable of change. With each meal, each breath, each moment of rest, you offer your microbiome a chance to recover. The foods you choose, rich in fiber, full of color, become nourishment for your inner garden. The moments of calm, the laughter shared with friends, the gentle walks in nature, all of these are gifts to your microbiome, invitations to heal. Sometimes, though, the imbalance lingers. The garden struggles to recover. The choir cannot find its harmony. In these times, science offers new hope, a way to restore what has been lost, to bring back the music of your inner world. The idea is simple, yet profound. What if you could borrow balance from another, invite new life into your own body? As you rest tonight, you may feel the gentle ache of imbalance, the longing for harmony. But you can also feel the quiet strength of your body, the resilience of your microbiome, the promise of renewal. The roots of imbalance run deep, but so does the possibility of healing. And as you drift toward sleep, you may find yourself wondering, how did people in the past seek to restore this balance? What ancient wisdom lies hidden in the story of the microbiome waiting to be rediscovered? The answers, like seeds in the soil, are ready to sprout in the next chapter of your journey. Long before the world was mapped by satellites, before the invisible was made visible by glass and light, people listened to the language of the body. In quiet villages and bustling cities, healers watched, waited, and learned from the rhythms of life. They noticed that the gut was more than a place for food. It was a center of feeling, a source of strength, a wellspring of health. Even without knowing the word microbiome, they sensed its power, and their remedies whispered of secrets that science would one day rediscover. Imagine a time when illness was a mystery, when fevers and stomach pains arrived like storms, unbidden and unexplained. In ancient China, more than 1,000 years ago, healers faced a puzzling sickness: patients suffering from severe diarrhea, their bodies weakened and spirits low. The usual herbs and teas brought little relief. So the healers turned to something strange, something bold. They prepared a yellow soup, a mixture made from the healthy stool of another person, given to the sick in hopes of restoring balance. It was a remedy born of observation, of trust in the wisdom of the body, and it worked more often than not. Across the world, in the deserts of North Africa, Bedouin tribes had their own answer to gut illness. When a camel fell ill, its caretakers would feed it the fresh droppings of a healthy animal, believing that the good bacteria would help the sick one recover. In the world of horses, too, caretakers sometimes used the manure of a strong animal to heal one that was weak. These practices, passed down through generations, were rooted in the quiet knowledge that life begets life, that health can be shared. Centuries, these remedies remained on the fringes of medicine, whispered about or rarely written down. The idea of using another's bacteria to heal was strange, even unsettling. But the body remembers what the mind forgets, and the wisdom of the past waited patiently for science to catch up. Centuries later, the world changed. Microscopes revealed a universe in a drop of water, a teeming world of shapes and colors too small for the eye to see. Scientists peered into the gut, and found not emptiness, but abundance. Trillions of bacteria, each with its own purpose, its own story. The old remedies began to make sense. The yellow soup of ancient China was not just folklore. It was an early form of what we now call a fecal microbiota transplant, a way to restore the balance of the gut by sharing the living community of another dot in modern hospitals. The process is more refined, more precise. Donors are carefully screened, their health and history examined with care. The stool is processed, purified, and prepared, then delivered to the patient in a way that feels almost magical, sometimes as a capsule, sometimes as a gentle infusion. The goal is the same as it was centuries ago: to bring new life to a struggling gut, to restore the harmony that illness has disturbed. Science, with its careful measurements and controlled studies, has shown that these transplants can work wonders. For people suffering from Clostridioides difficile infection, a stubborn, sometimes deadly illness that resists antibiotics, a microbiome transplant can be a turning point. The healthy bacteria from a donor take root, crowding out the harmful invaders, rebuilding the garden from the ground up. Patients who have suffered for months, even years, often find relief within days. The old wisdom is reborn, now illuminated by the light of discovery. But the story does not end there. As researchers look deeper, they find that the microbiome is connected to more than just the gut. It shapes the immune system, influences the mind, and touches nearly every part of the body. The idea of sharing bacteria, once unthinkable, becomes a gentle promise, a way to heal not just the gut, but the whole person. The journey from ancient remedy to modern science is a story of curiosity, of courage, of listening to the bodies. Quiet wisdom. It is a reminder that healing is not always about fighting, but about restoring, about inviting balance back into the places where it has been lost. The old and the new meet in the practice of microbiome transplants, each bringing their own gifts. As you rest tonight, you can imagine the hands of healers, past and present, working together across time. The ancient herbalist, the Bedouin caretaker, the modern doctor in a white coat-all are part of the same story, all seeking to restore the music of the body. The tools may change, the language may evolve, but the heart of the practice remains the same: to bring life where there is struggle, to share health where there is need. You may wonder what it feels like to receive such a gift, to welcome the living legacy of another into your own body. You may imagine the journey of a single microbe, leaving one world to find a new home, carrying with it the promise of renewal. What makes a donor's gift so special? How is it chosen, prepared, and given? These questions linger, soft and inviting. As you drift toward sleep, the secrets of the past have become the hope of the present, and the story of microbiome transplants is still unfolding. In the next chapter, you will follow the journey of the donor, the person whose inner garden becomes a gift, whose microbes carry the possibility of healing. What does it mean to give such a gift, and how does it change both the giver and the end receiver? The answers wait just beyond the edge of dreaming, ready to be discovered as your journey continues. Within every person, there is a secret garden, tended quietly and without fanfare. For some, this garden is especially lush, full of rare blooms, sturdy trees, and a rich, living soil. These are the people whose microbiomes are not just healthy, but abundant, diverse, and resilient. They carry within them a legacy of balance, a harmony that can be shared. Tonight, you are invited to imagine what it means to be a donor, to offer the gift of life at the smallest, most intimate scale. Picture a donor as a gentle gardener, someone whose inner world is thriving. Their gut is home to a vibrant community of bacteria, fungi, and viruses, all living in peaceful cooperation. This balance is not an accident, but the result of many quiet influences: genetics, diet, environment, and the simple luck of life's unfolding. The donor may not feel extraordinary, but within them, a rare treasure grows. To become a donor is to offer more than a sample. It is to share a living legacy. The process begins with care and caution. Potential donors are carefully screened, their health histories reviewed, their blood and stool tested for any sign of illness. Only those with the healthiest, most balanced microbiomes are chosen. It is a quiet honor, a recognition of the flourishing world within. Imagine the journey of a single microbe born in the depths of a donor's gut. It lives its life in the gentle darkness, helping to break down food, crafting vitamins, and sending signals to the immune system. It is part of a vast network, a community that works together to keep the body well. When the time comes, this microbe is collected, along with millions of its neighbors. In a process that is both simple and profound. The donor sample is prepared with great care. In a laboratory, it is gently processed, purified, and tested. Again, the goal is to preserve the living community, to keep the garden intact as it travels from one body to another. The sample may be frozen, stored, or delivered fresh, depending on the needs of the recipient. Every step is guided by the hope of healing, the promise of renewal. For the recipient, the donor's gift is more than medicine. It is a chance to restore what has been lost. The new microbes arrive, like seeds on the wind, ready to take root in a new home. They bring with them the memory of balance, the possibility of harmony. In some cases, the change is swift and dramatic. In others, it is slow and gentle, a gradual return to health. But what makes a donor's gift so special? It is not just the presence of helpful bacteria, but the diversity and resilience of the community. A healthy microbiome is like a rainforest, full of different species, each playing a unique role. This diversity is the key to strength, to the ability to withstand illness and recover from stress. When a recipient receives a transplant from a donor with a flourishing microbiome, they are given not just new bacteria, but a new chance at balance. The act of giving is powerful, even when it happens at the smallest scale. Donors may never meet the people they help, may never know the stories of those whose lives are changed. Yet their gift ripples outward, touching families, communities, and the future. It is a reminder that healing is not just an individual journey, but a shared one. As you rest tonight, you can imagine the journey of a single microbe, leaving the familiar world of the donor's gut to find a new home. It travels through careful hands, across the boundaries of self, carrying with it the promise of renewal. It is a tiny ambassador, a messenger of hope. The donor's legacy is not just in the microbes they share, but in the lives they touch. Each successful transplant is a story of connection, a testament to the power of community, both within the body and beyond it. The gift of life, given quietly and without expectation, becomes a thread in the tapestry of healing. You may wonder, what happens next? How these tiny travelers make their way into a new world, how they find their place and begin to grow. The journey is both delicate and profound, guided by science and hope. In the next chapter, you will follow the path of the transplant itself, from the hands of the donor to the heart of the recipient. How do these new microbes settle in? What challenges do they face, and what miracles might they bring? As you drift toward sleep, you carry with you the gentle knowledge that healing can come from the smallest places, that the gift of life is always waiting to be shared. The story continues, unfolding quietly in the darkness as the journey inward begins. Imagine for a moment the journey of a single microbe, so small, so light, it could ride the breeze of a sigh. It begins its life in the lush, bustling world of a healthy gut, surrounded by millions of neighbors, each with their own purpose. This microbe is part of a thriving community, a living network that keeps its host well. But one day, it is chosen for a journey, a passage from one world to another, carrying with it the promise of healing. The process of a microbiome transplant is both simple and profound, a blend of ancient wisdom and modern science. It begins with a careful selection, a donor whose inner garden is flourishing, whose microbes are strong and diverse. Their gift is collected with care, processed gently to preserve the living community, and tested to ensure safety. Each step is guided by hope, by the quiet belief that life can be shared. For the recipient, the journey begins with preparation. Sometimes the gut must be cleared, making space for the new arrivals. This may mean a gentle cleanse, a pause in certain medications, or a special diet. The body is readied, the stage set for the arrival of new life. The transplant itself can take many forms. In some cases, the donor's microbes are delivered as a liquid infusion, gently introduced into the colon through a small tube. In others, they are placed in capsules, tiny vessels that carry the living community safely through the stomach, releasing them where they are needed most. Each method is chosen with care, tailored to the needs of the patient, the nature of the illness, and the wisdom of the medical team. As the new microbes enter the body, their journey truly begins. They travel through the winding corridors of the gut, seeking a place to settle, to grow, to become part of a new community. Some arrive with ease, finding familiar foods and friendly neighbors. Others must adapt, learning to thrive in a new environment, to work alongside the microbes that are already there. This process is delicate, a dance of introduction and acceptance. The recipient's immune system watches closely, deciding which newcomers to welcome, which to keep at a distance. The gut lining, a living barrier, opens its doors to some, while gently guiding others away. It is a negotiation, a conversation, in the language of molecules and signals, as old as life itself. Sometimes, the new microbes take root quickly, their presence felt within days. The recipient may notice changes, less pain, more energy, a sense of lightness that had been missing. Other times, the process is slower, a gradual unfolding as the community finds its balance. The garden grows. The music of the microbiome begins to play once more, but the journey is not always easy. The gut is a complex world, shaped by years of experience, by illness, by the foods that have come and gone. Some microbes may struggle to survive, finding the new environment unfamiliar or inhospitable. Others may flourish, bringing with them the memory of health, the possibility of renewal. Science watches this process with wonder, measuring the changes, studying the patterns. Researchers collect samples, analyze the DNA of the microbes, and track the shifts in the community. They see how the transplant can restore balance, crowding out harmful bacteria, encouraging the growth of helpful strains. They watch as the immune system calms, as inflammation fades, as the body begins to heal. Yet, for all its precision, the process remains mysterious. No two transplants are exactly alike. Each recipient is unique, each donor's gift a living, changing thing. The outcome depends on countless factors: the diversity of the donor's microbiome, the health of the recipient, the timing, the method, even the foods eaten in the days that follow. It is a reminder that healing is not a formula, but a relationship, a partnership between body and microbe, between science and hope. As you follow the journey of these tiny travelers, you may find yourself marveling at their resilience. They cross boundaries, adapt to new worlds, and work together to create something greater than themselves. Their story is one of connection, of possibility, of quiet courage. For the patient, the days after a transplant are filled with gentle anticipation. Each meal becomes an offering, each moment of rest a chance for the new community to grow. The body listens closely, noticing the subtle shifts, the easing of pain, the return of appetite, the quiet joy of feeling whole again. It is a time of hope, of waiting, of trust in the process. Sometimes the changes are dramatic. Patients who have suffered for months or years may find relief within days. The infection that would not yield to antibiotics is swept away, replaced by a flourishing garden of health. Other times, the journey is slower, the healing more gradual. But in nearly every case, the transplant brings the possibility of renewal, the chance to begin again. The process is not without risk. The body is a careful host, and not every transplant succeeds. Sometimes, the new microbes are rejected, or the balance is not restored. But even in these moments, there is learning, there is growth. Science refines its methods, patients find new paths to healing, and the story continues. As you rest tonight, you can imagine the journey of a single microbe making its way through the darkness, seeking a place to belong. It is a journey of hope, of resilience, of quiet determination. The microbe does not know the outcome, cannot see the future, but it moves forward, guided by the promise of connection. The journey inward is both literal and metaphorical. It is a passage from illness to health, from imbalance to harmony. It is a reminder that healing is not always about fighting, but about welcoming, about making space for new life to grow. As you drift towards sleep, you may wonder about the stories of those who have walked this path before you. What is it like to feel the change, to experience the return of health, the quiet joy of a body in balance? In the next chapter, you will hear the healing stories of those whose lives have been transformed by microbiome transplants. Their journeys are threads in a tapestry of hope, woven by unseen hands, waiting to be discovered as your own journey continues. In the gentle hush of hospital rooms, where hope and worry often share the same space, stories of healing quietly unfold. Here, the journey of the microbiome transplant becomes more than a medical procedure. It becomes a turning point, a new chapter in the lives of those who have struggled for so long. Each patient carries their own story, their own longing for relief. And in the soft light of recovery, the power of connection reveals itself in unexpected ways. Imagine a woman named Sarah, her days once shadowed by relentless illness. For months, she battled a stubborn infection, Clostridioides difficile, a name that became a constant echo in her life. Antibiotics came and went, each one a promise that faded into disappointment. Her world grew smaller, her energy drained by pain and uncertainty. Yet, in the quiet moments, she held on to hope, a hope that something gentle, something new might bring her back to herself. When Sarah's doctor suggested a microbiome transplant, it sounded almost magical. The idea that someone else's healthy bacteria could help her heal was both strange and comforting. The procedure itself was simple, almost anticlimactic, a gentle infusion, a moment of stillness. But in the days that followed, Sarah felt a shift. The pain eased, her appetite returned, and the world outside her window seemed brighter. It was as if a garden long neglected had begun to bloom again, each new day a testament to the quiet power of renewal. Sarah's story is not unique. Across the world, patients with similar struggles have found relief through microbiome transplants. Some arrive at the hospital exhausted by years of illness, their bodies weary from the fight. Others are children, their parents' faces etched with worry and hope. Each story is different, yet all are bound by the same thread, the longing for balance, for a return to the gentle rhythm of health. In another room, an elderly man named Thomas sits quietly, his hands folded in his lap. He remembers a time when his body felt strong, when meals were a pleasure and laughter came easily. But illness crept in, slow and relentless, until even the simplest joys became burdens. After his transplant, Thomas feels a change, not just in his body, but in his spirit. He finds himself smiling more, reaching for the hand of his wife, savoring the taste of morning coffee. The healing is not just physical. It is a return to connection, to the small moments that make life sweet. Children, too, have their stories. A little girl named Maya, once plagued by digestive troubles, now runs and plays with a lightness her parents thought they might never see again. Her laughter fills the house, a sound that carries the promise of a future unburdened by pain. 4. Her family, the transplant, is more than a treatment. It is a gift, a second chance, a thread of hope woven into the fabric of their days. These stories are not miracles in the traditional sense. They are the result of science, of careful study and gentle care. Yet, to those who experience them, the change can feel miraculous, a sudden lifting of a weight, a return to the simple joys of living. The microbiome transplant becomes a bridge, connecting one person's flourishing inner world to another's need for healing. But not every story is simple, and not every journey is smooth. Some patients find only partial relief, their bodies slow to accept the new community of microbes. Others face setbacks, moments of doubt and uncertainty. Yet even in these moments, there is learning, there is growth. The tapestry of healing is woven from many thread successes and struggles, hope and patience, science and the quiet wisdom of the body. What do these stories teach us? They remind us that healing is not a solitary journey. It is a dance of connection between patient and donor, between body and microbe, between science and the deep, ancient rhythms of life. The act of sharing, of receiving, becomes a testament to the power of community, both within and beyond the body. In the gentle aftermath of a successful transplant, patients often speak of gratitude, not just for the relief from illness, but for the sense of being cared for, of being part of something larger than themselves. The donor, often a stranger, becomes a silent companion on the path to health. The doctors and nurses, the researchers and caregivers, all play their part in the unfolding story. As you listen to these stories, you may feel a quiet sense of wonder. The journey of a single microbe, the gift of a healthy community, the return of balance. Each is a reminder that life is resilient, that healing can come from the smallest places. The tapestry of recovery is woven by unseen hands, each thread a story of hope. Yet, even as these stories inspire, they also invite reflection. What are the risks? What mysteries remain? The microbiome is a wild and complex world, not easily tamed. For every story of healing, there are questions that linger in the shadows, questions about safety, about the unknown, about the delicate balance between help and harm. As you drift toward sleep, you carry with you the gentle wisdom of these healing stories. They are reminders that connection is powerful, that hope is never wasted, and that the journey of healing is always unfolding. In the next chapter, you will explore the risks and mysteries that still surround the microbiome, the shadows that linger, even as the light of discovery grows brighter. In the gentle glow of hope, there are always shadow-soft places where questions linger, where certainty gives way to mystery. The story of microbiome transplants is no different. For every tale of healing, there are moments of uncertainty, risks that must be weighed, and mysteries that remain unsolved. The microbiome, after all, is a wild forest, not easily tamed, and every journey through it is both a promise and a question. Imagine walking through a dense, ancient wood. The sunlight filters through the leaves, illuminating patches of green. But beneath the canopy, there are places where the light does not reach. Here, the ground is soft and uneven, the air thick with possibility and caution. This is the world of the microbiome, teeming with life, but also with unknowns. When a microbiome transplant is performed, it is an act of trust. The donor's microbes, though carefully screened and prepared, are still strangers to the recipient's body. Most of the time, they bring balance and healing, but sometimes the journey is not so smooth. The new community may struggle to take root, or it may bring with it unexpected guests' bacteria that, while harmless in one person, may cause trouble in another. There are risks, both known and hidden. In rare cases, infections can be transmitted, even with the most careful screening. The immune system, always vigilant, may react in ways that are hard to predict. Some patients experience mild discomfort, bloating, cramping, or changes in digestion as their bodies adjust to the new arrivals. For most, these symptoms are temporary, a sign that the community is finding its balance. But for a few, the risks are greater, the shadows deeper. Science works tirelessly to understand these risks, to shine light into the dark corners of the microbiome. Researchers study the DNA of bacteria, searching for clues about which strains are helpful, which are harmful, and which are simply unknown. They track the outcomes of transplants, learning from each success and each setback. The goal is always safety, always healing, but the path is not always clear. There are mysteries, too, that science has yet to unravel. The microbiome is not a single thing, but a shifting, living network unique to each person, shaped by countless factors. What works for one patient may not work for another. The same donor, the same method, the same preparation, each can lead to different outcomes. For reasons that are not always understood, some mysteries are gentle, inviting curiosity. Why do some people respond so quickly to a transplant, while others take longer to heal? What is the role of diet, of stress, of sleep in shaping the new community? How do the microbes talk to the immune system, to the brain, to the heart? These are questions that linger, soft and persistent, waiting for answers. Other mysteries are more troubling. Could a transplant meant to heal ever cause harm? Could it introduce bacteria that, over time, change the body in unexpected ways? There are stories, rare but real, of patients developing new allergies, or changes in weight, or shifts in mood after a transplant. Science listens closely to these stories, seeking patterns, searching for understanding. Yet, even in the face of risk, the promise of healing remains strong. The wild forest of the microbiome is not a place to be feared, but to be respected, explored with care and humility. Each step forward is guided by both caution and hope, by the knowledge that every discovery brings new questions, new possibilities. As you rest tonight, you may find yourself wandering through this forest, feeling both the comfort of the light and the intrigue of the shadows. The risks are real, but so is the resilience of the body, the wisdom of the community within. The journey is not without danger, but it is also full of wonder. The shadows of the microbiome remind us that science is a living story, always unfolding, always changing. There are secrets still hidden in the dark, waiting to be discovered. And as you drift toward sleep, you may wonder, what other connections lie within, waiting to be revealed? How does the microbiome reach beyond the gut, touching the mind, the heart, the very essence of who we are? The answers, like the forest itself, are waiting just beyond the next bend in the path, ready to be explored as your journey continues. As you rest in the quiet of the evening, you may notice the gentle rise and fall of your breath, the slow rhythm of your heart, the soft hum of thoughts drifting through your mind. Beneath these familiar sensations, another conversation is taking place, a silent dialogue between your gut and your brain, carried on waves of chemicals and signals, as ancient as life itself. Tonight, you are invited to listen in, to explore the mysterious connection that links your inner world to your innermost thoughts. The gut is often called the second brain, and for good reason. Within its winding corridors lies a vast network of nerves, almost as many as in your spinal cord. This network, known as the enteric nervous system, is in constant communication with your brain, sending messages back and forth in a language that is both subtle and profound. The microbiome, that hidden community of bacteria, fungi, and viruses, is a key player in this conversation, shaping not just your digestion, but your mood, your memory, your sense of self. Imagine for a moment the journey of a single molecule, a chemical messenger crafted by a microbe in your gut. It travels through the bloodstream, carried by the gentle current of your body until it reaches the brain. There, it may influence the release of neurotransmitters, the chemicals that shape your thoughts and feelings. Serotonin, often called the happiness molecule, is one such messenger. Remarkably, most of the serotonin in your body is produced not in your brain, but in your gut, with the help of your microbiome. This silent conversation is always happening, whether you are aware of it or not. When your gut is in balance, the messages are gentle, harmonious, a background music that supports your well-being. But when the microbiome is disturbed by illness, by stress, by imbalance, the conversation can change. You may feel it as a flutter of anxiety, a heaviness of mood, a sense that your thoughts are not quite your own. Science is only beginning to understand the depth of this connection. Researchers have found that changes in the microbiome can influence not just digestion, but mental health. In studies with animals, transferring the microbiome from an anxious mouse to a calm one can make the calm mouse more anxious, and vice versa. In humans, some patients who receive microbiome transplants report changes in mood, in clarity of thought, in their sense of energy and peace. The gut and the mind are partners in advance, each shaping the other in ways that are both mysterious and profound. When you feel nervous, your stomach may tighten. When you are calm, your digestion may flow more smoothly. This is not just coincidence, but the result of a deep, ancient bond that is woven into the very fabric of your being. Microbiome. Transplants, though designed to heal the body, sometimes bring unexpected gifts to the mind. Patients who have struggled with depression or anxiety alongside their physical symptoms may find relief after a transplant. The change is not always dramatic, not always immediate, but it is real, a gentle lifting of the clouds, a return of lightness and ease. You may wonder how this is possible. The answer lies in the language of the microbiome, a language spoken in chemicals, in signals, in the quiet shaping of the immune system. The microbes in your gut produce not just vitamins and nutrients, but also short-chain fatty acids, neurotransmitters, and other molecules that influence the brain. They help regulate inflammation, which can affect mood and cognition. They even shape the way you respond to stress, the way you sleep, the way you dream. This connection is a reminder that you are not just a collection of parts, but a living, breathing whole. Your thoughts and feelings are not separate from your body, but are shaped by the world within. The microbiome is a partner in your mental health, a quiet companion on the journey of the mind. As you explore this connection, you may notice the gentle tug between thought and digestion. A stressful day can leave your stomach unsettled. A nourishing meal can bring a sense of calm. The foods you eat, the microbes you nurture, all play a role in the symphony of your well-being. The gut and the mind are in constant conversation, each listening, each responding, each caring for the other. There are still mysteries here, questions that science has yet to answer. How deep does this bond truly go? Can changing the microbiome heal not just the body, but the mind? What is the role of diet, of sleep, of movement in shaping this connection? These are questions that linger, soft and inviting, as you drift toward sleep. Yet, even without all the answers, there is comfort in knowing that you are cared for by a community, within a community that listens, that responds, that seeks balance and harmony. The journey of healing is not just physical, but emotional, mental, spiritual. A microbiome is a partner in this journey, a gentle guide on the path to wholeness. As you rest tonight, you may feel the quiet presence of this inner world, the soft conversation between your gut and your mind. It is a reminder that healing is not just about fixing what is broken, but about nurturing what is whole. The microbiome, in its silent wisdom, helps you find your way back to yourself. And as you drift into sleep, you may wonder what the future holds. How will science continue to explore this connection? What new frontiers will be discovered? What new possibilities will unfold? The answers are waiting, shimmering on the horizon, ready to be explored in the next chapter of your journey. The night is quiet, but the world of science is always moving, always reaching for what lies just beyond the edge of understanding. In the gentle hush, you can almost hear the soft footsteps of discovery, the careful turning of pages, the hopeful hum of possibility. The story of the microbiome is still being written, and as you rest, you are invited to imagine the future of future, shaped by the wisdom of tiny allies, by the promise of new frontiers in medicine. Once, the idea of healing with someone else's bacteria seemed strange, even impossible. Now it is a reality, a gentle hope for those who have struggled with illness. But science does not stand still. Researchers and doctors are dreaming of new ways to harness the power of the microbiome, to make transplants safer, more effective, and more personal. Imagine a world where every microbiome transplant is tailored just for you. Scientists are learning to read the unique map of your inner world, to understand which microbes you need most and in what balance. In the future, a simple test could reveal the strengths and weaknesses of your microbiome, guiding doctors to create a personalized blend of bacteria chosen, not just for their health, but for their harmony with your body. This is the promise of precision medicine, a future where healing is as unique as your fingerprint, as personal as your story. Already, researchers are developing ways to grow specific strains of helpful bacteria in the lab, to design transplants that are safer and more targeted. Some are even exploring the use of synthetic microbes, engineered bacteria that can deliver medicine, fight disease, or restore balance in ways nature never imagined. The possibilities are as vast as the microbiome itself. In the years to come, you may see treatments for conditions that once seemed untouchable: autoimmune diseases, allergies, even some forms of mental illness, guided by the gentle hand of microbial medicine. The gut, once seen as a simple organ, is now recognized as a center of health, a place where healing begins. But the future is not just about new treatments. It is about understanding, about respect for the world within. Scientists are learning that the microbiome is not a machine to be fixed, but a living community to be nurtured. The best medicine may not always be a pill or a procedure, but a way of living, a diet rich in fiber and color, a life filled with movement and rest, a sense of connection to the world around you. In this future, you are not just a patient, but partner in your own healing. You learn to listen to your body, to care for your inner garden, to make choices that support the health of your microbiome. The wisdom of ancient healers and the discoveries of modern science come together, guiding you toward balance, toward wholeness. There are challenges, of course. The microbiome is complex, and there is still much to learn. Not every treatment will work for every person. There will be setbacks, surprises, and questions that take years to answer. But the spirit of discovery is strong, and the promise of healing is real. As you imagine this future, you may see a world where hospitals and clinics are filled with new kinds of medicine capsules of carefully chosen bacteria, infusions of living communities, even tiny robots that deliver microbes exactly where they are needed. You may see families learning together, children growing up with a deep respect for the world within, communities coming together to support health in new and creative ways. The wonders of tomorrow shimmer on the horizon, waiting to be discovered. The story of the microbiome is a story of connection between people, between bodies, between the past and the future. Each new discovery is a thread in a tapestry of hope, woven by the hands of scientists, doctors, patients, and the tiny allies who live within us all. As you rest tonight, you can feel the gentle promise of this future, a future where healing, is guided by wisdom, by care, by the quiet strength of the microbiome. The journey is not over. It is just beginning. The next chapter is waiting, ready to unfold as you return home to your own inner universe. And as you drift toward sleep, you may wonder, what does it mean to truly embrace the world within? How can you care for your microbiome, and in doing so, care for yourself? The answers are close, waiting to be discovered as your journey comes full circle. The journey has carried you far through ancient remedies and modern science, through stories of healing and the mysteries that linger in the shadows. Now, as the night deepens and the world grows quiet, you return home to your own body, changed by what you have learned, comforted by the gentle wisdom of the world within. You lie still, feeling the soft weight of the covers, the steady rhythm of your breath. Beneath your skin, the universe of your microbiome hums quietly, no longer a stranger but a companion. You sense the presence of trillions of tiny lives, each one playing its part in the great symphony of your health. They are gardeners and builders, messengers and guardians, weaving the fabric of your well-being with every moment. You remember the stories, the patients who found relief, the donors who shared their living legacy, the scientists who peered into the shadows and found hope. You remember the risks, the mysteries, the questions that remain. Yet, above all, you remember the feeling of connection, the sense that you are never truly alone. The microbiome is with you, a quiet partner on your path, a reminder that healing can come from the smallest places. As you rest, you reflect on the ways you can care for this inner universe. You think of the foods that nourish your microbes colorful, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, fermented delights. You think of the moments of calm, the laughter shared with friends, the gentle walks in nature. Each choice is a gift to your microbiome, an act of kindness to yourself. You realize that health is not a destination, but a journey, a dance of balance and renewal, of listening and responding. The microbiome is always changing, always adapting, shaped by the world around you and the world within. It is resilient, capable of healing, ready to support you as you move through life's seasons. You feel gratitude for the wisdom of the past, for the courage of those who dared to try something new, for the curiosity that drives science forward. You feel hope for the future, for the discoveries yet to come, for the ways you can nurture your own well-being. You feel a gentle peace, knowing that you are cared for by a community that is always with you, always working on your behalf. As you drift towards sleep, you let go of the need for answers, the urge to solve every mystery. You rest in the gentle knowledge that some questions are meant to linger, to invite wonder, to remind you of the vastness of the world within. You wonder what other secrets your body holds, what other worlds lie, waiting to be discovered. The journey is not over. It is simply changing shape. Each day, each breath is a new chapter in the story of your health. The microbiome is your companion, your guide, your quiet ally. Together, you move forward curious, comforted, and whole. And as you slip into sleep, you carry with you the gentle promise of healing, the quiet strength of connection, the endless possibility of the universe within.